Hello, I am Brentfay and I'm here to talk to you about how to win in Umamusume. I will be going over the basics of how to build your Umas the best you can to ensure they have the best chances to win. Starting off, here are 3 tracks from in-game. This is Hanshin 1600, Tokyo 2400, and Kyoto 3200. Each of these tracks are very different, and different Umas are good on them for different reasons. For example, Nishino Flower is very good on Hanshin 1600, but struggles a lot more on Tokyo 2400 and Kyoto 3200. Narita Taishin, on the other hand, excels on Kyoto 3200 and does very well on Hanshin 1600, but tends to struggle a little more on Tokyo 2400. And Maruzensky does very well on Tokyo 2400, but struggles on Kyoto 3200 and Hanshin 1600. This is Nakayama 1200. This is one of the shortest sprints in the game and the shortest G1 track in the game. Some Umas who are good on this track are Wedding Courage and Nishino Flower, Taiki Shuttle, and Seiyun Sky. If we look at a track that is the same distance, Chukyo 1200, also a G1 track, now Taiki and Seiyun are no longer nearly as good, but instead, Alcondra Pasa and Halloween Super Creek are both very strong. But Wedding Courage and Nishino Flower are both very strong on this track as well. One of the biggest determining factors of what Umas are good on a track is going to be where the final leg starts, often called the final spurt. As we can see on Hanshin 1600, the final leg begins right in the 4th corner, which is what makes Nishino Flower very good. If we look at Tokyo 2400, it's very late in the 3rd corner just before the final corner. And on Kyoto 3200, it's in the middle of the back straightaway, which is the straightaway before the 3rd and 4th corner. Additionally, we can look at how the elevation is changing at the start of the final leg, but it often doesn't do as much. It is still good to take note of because skills like Determined Descent are very good on Hanshin 1600, as they can be used to gamble on more acceleration early, or Highlander could also be used to gamble on Kyoto 3200 and other Kyoto final spurts. These Umas here are the main reason why the final spurt location is so important, because we can inherit these Umas and they will guaranteed start your acceleration very early, assuming you are in position to do so. On any late race corner, Seiyun Sky works for front runners in first, and Measure Orion and Measure Dober work for late surgers and end closers in 5th and 6th. On the final corner, Maruzensky works for front runners and pace chasers in 5th or above. In the middle of the final corner, Nishino Flower and Taiki Shuttle work in 3rd and 4th place pace chasers. On the back straightaway, Ballroom, Seiyun Sky, and Kitasan Black work for 1st and 2nd, as well as straightaway spurt for end closers. And for the final straight, El Condor Paso for front runners, Halloween Super Creek for fronts and pace chasers, Nishino Flower for pace chasers, and Cheerleader King Halo for late surgers and end closers, as well as straightaway spurt for end closers. These skills are super strong because they allow you to get acceleration at the very start of the final spurt, which lets your Uma accelerate to top speed as quickly as possible. So let's look at Narita Taishin again. Narita Taishin is an end closer that runs medium and long, but her Mile D lets her run Mile pretty easily as well. Her unique is Nemesis, which is just a speed skill on the final corner or final straight. Sleeping Lion is a mid-race recovery when in the back, and Encroaching Shadow is a straightaway acceleration when you're spurting, which is the gold version of the straightaway spurt that we mentioned previously. Nemesis is a very important part of her kit, as this can serve as both a mid-leg or a late-race speed skill. For example, on Hanshin 1600, it can trigger anywhere in this red area, which means she can trigger it early and use it as a mid-race skill or even get speed carryover, or she can pass late and get it as a late-race speed skill. On Kyoto 3200 though, it is exclusively a late-race speed skill. Other skills and uniques that also do this include Narita Bryant's Shadow Break, Medro McQueen's Duty of Dignity, Speed Star, and Rising Dragon. Now let's look at another track. This is Nakayama 2500, this is Ariba Keenan. Taishin is a very strong Uma on this track for a couple of reasons. Of course, she has Encroaching Shadow, which lets her accelerate immediately into the spurt. She has solid late race in Nemesis and a mid-race recovery as well as the 10% speed bonus, which is just a generally good thing to have. On the contrary, she lacks a lot of mid-race speed, and Nemesis alone isn't enough for that late race speed, as well as having a 20% guts bonus, which tends to be pretty weak on longer tracks, as well as this track being a very short final straight. Let's look at another Uma. This is Narita Bryan, who we previously mentioned for Shadow Break. She is a natural pace and late surger that also runs medium and long and very easily runs mile. Shadow Break works very similar to Narita Taishin's unique, giving speed when passing on the final corner or the final straight. Beeline Burst gives speed on a random straightaway, and Embody in Mind is a speed skill that works in the final spurt. Looking at the same track, Narita Bryan possesses an incredible amount of late race speed, as well as potential mid-leg from Beeline Burst, or even carryover if you get lucky. She also has a 20% stamina bonus and a 10% speed bonus, which just makes her a lot easier to train. On the contrary, she has 0 innate recovery, or acceleration, which means those are going to be holes we'll want to fill in when we're building her. Comparing the two, how do we want to focus on building them? While they run different styles, the general formula for building your Umas is going to be very similar. If you want a good balance of acceleration, mid-race speed, and late-race speed. For Narita Taishin, we want to focus a lot on that mid-leg speed as well as some late-race speed. Extra acceleration and recovery doesn't hurt, but it's not the biggest focus for us. On the contrary, Narita Bryan needs a lot of acceleration and some recovery, so we're going to want to focus on getting acceleration skills for her. Mid-leg speed will also be nice, but late-race speed we can almost neglect entirely just from her innate kit. As an example of what we could build for Narita Taishin, for Arima Kanan, we'll want to aim for this stat line here, as well as the skilled recovery that comes naturally from Sleeping Lion. You might want to run 2 speed, 2 wit for this as your main core, or you could be aggressive and run 1 speed and 3 wit cards, but this is highly discouraged unless you have very strong wit and speed cards. Additionally, you'll want to add 2 power cards or a power card and a stamina or friend card like Riko Kashimoto. Some good examples of speed cards we might want to use for this deck would be Kitasan Black, Matikane Fukugitaru, Narita Top Road, Shinko Windy, or Nation of Flower. Kitasan is just a very good card with a very good gold. She's currently a little weaker in Mat thanks to her 5 race bonus and generally slightly weaker training for high specialty priority, but she's still a very solid option. Matikane Fukugitaru has 10 race bonus and friend card bonuses, which is very helpful in Mat, as she makes it easier to train and prevents more energy loss, as well as just being generally good on most trainings, even if she's not rainbowing. Her downsides is that she has no specialty priority, which means she might not land on speed a lot, and her gold is mostly useless, being super lucky 7. Narita Top Road also has 10 race bonus and has speed and power bonus. She generally scales very quickly thanks to her special effect, which grants training effectiveness for every 10,000 fans you have, but she has a bit lower of priority. Her gold is a little specific, requiring a firm course, and if you're not racing a lot, she can get very weak before year 3. Shinko Windy is the only SR I've put here, but they're not the only good SR card you can use. Shinko Windy is just especially notable because of the 10 race bonus and high initial speed, which makes winning those early races a lot easier, as well as having speed bonus. But overall, because she's an SR card, her training is typically a lot weaker. Her hints are pretty much useless for Narita Taishin, and her specialty priority is pretty low. Nation of Flower is a solid card as well. She struggles from having 5 race bonus and much weaker training, but she has very good initial friendship, speed bonus, and high initial speed, as well as giving the Beeline Burst skill, which is very useful for us here. Generally, we'd only want to run a card like Nation of Flower if we're confident in our speed training already and have a solid first option. For wit cards we might want to use Fine Motion, Mr. CB, Yukino Bijin, Agnes Tachyon, and Marvelous Sunday are all very solid options. Fine Motion is of course the strongest wit card in the game right now at 10 RB, even 5 RB if you're at LB0. She has good specialty priority and wit bonus, but she has a Pace Chaser gold that doesn't benefit Narita Taishin. Mr. CB has 2 wit bonus, speed bonus, SP bonus, solid priority, and very good skills for Narita Taishin, having primarily end closer hints. She only has 5 race bonus, which means we'll have to make up that race bonus elsewhere in our deck though. Yukino Bijin is a pretty good priority card, and she has wit bonus with the good gold for this being no stopping me for extra excel, but her 5 race bonus and generally weak trainings make her pretty tough to use if you don't have a good second option for your wit cards. Agnes Tachyon has 10 race bonus, wit and SP bonus, and good priority, and is generally stronger than most SR wit cards, but her hints are entirely useless for Narita Taishin. Marvelous Sunday has 10 race bonus, very good events, and wit bonus, as well as good priority, but she is generally pretty hard to use because of her weaker training, as well as the Marvelous Sunday Power SSR being incredibly good, as well as very free to play accessible. For our flex cards, which are going to be our stamina, power, or friend cards, I recommend Super Greek Stamina, Narrator Brian Stamina, Yaino Mutuki Power, Riko Kashimoto, or Marvelous Sunday or Nation of Flower power cards. Super Greek is just the strongest stamina card in the game, having 10 race bonus and 5 at LB0, as well as having great a priority, great initial friendship, and the stamina bonus. She has the upside of an extra recovery, but this could also be seen as a downside, as we don't necessarily need that second recovery. Narrator Brian's stamina has 10 race bonus and SP bonus, which is very helpful, as well as good priority and generally good training, as well as giving the Beeline Burst skill. We won't want to use this if we're already using Nishino Flower speed, and she struggles a little bit because you do need a high limit break of this card. Yano Mutsuki has 10 race bonus, pretty solid training, very good hints, power bonus, and It's On, which is a mid-leg speed skill when you're passing. But she has a tiny bit of RNG interchange where the final event can give you much better or much worse rewards. But you do get the gold guaranteed regardless. Riko Kashimoto gives 10 race bonus, 5 at LB0, training effectiveness at LB1 and above, tons and tons of stamina and guts in their events, and as well as just generally being a very good friend card and giving Rushing Gale. Rushing Gale isn't super useful because it's just a chance for extra acceleration, but it's still a good skill if we have extra SP. And then the Marvelous Sunday and National Flower cards both have 15 race bonus, which is very, very helpful, as well as being both easy to obtain because the Marvelous Sunday SSR was just an event card and the National Flower is just an SR card. Both give pretty good hints and have very good events, as well as having initial power, and Marvelous Sunday has initial stamina as well, but both of these cards are pretty weak in training. To build an example deck, I have this right here, which is going to be using Fukuytaru, Kinasan Black, Mr. CB, Agnes Tachyon, Yaino Mutsuki, and Marvelous Sunday. This is a total of 55 race bonus, which we want to be shooting for 50 in Mant. In other scenarios, that tends to go down, but in Mant we want around 50. With this deck, we'll be getting the gold skills It's On, Daring Strike, and Professor of Curvature. It's On is a mid-leg, Daring Strike is also a mid-leg, and Professor of Curvature is both a mid-leg or a late race speed skill, depending on when it activates. From hints and just general Mant events, we can be getting Tail Held High, Straightaway Adept, Home Stretch Haste, Long Corners, and End Closer Corners. These are all skills that help us fill the gaps where we need them. And lastly, I did run a career with this deck just to use as an example. This is the exact deck right here. I had LB3 of Kida-san and Fukugitaru, LB1 of Mr. CB, MLB of Agnes Tachyon and Marvelous Sunday, and then I borrowed Yaino Mutsuki. I used 17-star Inherits of Stamina with Narita Bryant and Tamamo Cross Inherits, but you may want to use different ones, such as Measure Orion or Measure Dober, as well as No Fast Learner, and this was 34 races. And as you can see, this is SS. I have 1200 speed, 1200 wit, 1000 power. I got all of my events, and this was just my first try, actually. Some might think, oh, you rolled this a million times to get a really good example. No, this is just my first run. It was a fairly lucky run, but with some practice and knowing the scenario, you can also get very strong Umas like this with a very similar deck. It just takes practice and understanding of how to actually build your Umas. I hope this video helped you learn something, and I will be making more videos like this for those who are interested. Please like and subscribe, and have a good day.